the first time in 40 years, the inauguration of Donald Trump will be inside the U.S. Capitol rather than outside. And I know why. There's 3 reasons. Let me go through them. All right. So on Friday afternoon, it was announced that the inauguration, which is typically right outside the Capitol on the west front of the U.S. Capitol, would not be there and in fact would move inside. Now, from a practical perspective, all that means is that lots of people who have tickets to the inauguration ain't getting into the inauguration because it's going to be a much smaller, a couple hundred people, elected officials, former presidents, etc., dignitaries, and not the public because it's a much smaller space. But why did this happen? Okay, so the official reason that it happened is because it's going to be so incredibly cold on Monday in Washington, D.C. So let me just read a little bit of Donald Trump on Truth Social. There's an Arctic blast sweeping the country. Country is capitalized. I don't know why. He goes on. I don't want to see people hurt or injured in any way. It is dangerous conditions for the tens of thousands of law enforcement, first responders, police canines, and even horses, and hundreds of thousands of supporters that will be outside for many hours on the 20th. In any event, if you decide to come, dress warmly. Therefore, I have ordered the inauguration address, in addition to prayers and other speeches, to be delivered in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda, as was used by Ronald Reagan in 1985, also because of very cold weather. Now, Trump is right. It is going to be cold. I went to the Capitol Weather Gang, my favorite website, at the Washington Post, and they wrote, temperatures early Monday will hover in the mid to upper teens and will only slowly rise into the low 20s by noon when the swearing-in ceremony takes place. But check this out. They added, winds will be sustained at 10 to 20 miles per hour with gusts of 20 to 35 miles an hour. That sounds terrible. So you can scoff at Trump. Oh, he's not tough enough, blah, 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 blah. But I do think weather and the cold actually does play a role here. It is miserable to be out in cold like that. I know Barack Obama's first inauguration, 2009, the temperature was like 5 degrees warmer than it's supposed to be on Monday. And I was out on the press riser from about 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. Worst day of my life. Coldest I've ever, not because of Barack Obama. It was just because I was so cold. All right, so that's the obvious reason. The weather. It's going to be cold. That's reason 1 why we're going inside. Reason 2 why we're going inside. Donald Trump, as you may know, is very concerned with crowd size. Always has been, always will be. At every campaign rally in 2024 and 2020 and 2016, he talked about how this is the biggest crowd that's ever come to see anything. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. This is historic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you will remember, and if not, I'm going to remind you right now, that in 2017, Donald Trump claimed that the crowd that came to his inauguration was the largest crowd that had ever attended any inauguration, despite the fact that photographic evidence of the exact same area and the exact same crowd space showed that Barack Obama's 2009 crowd for Barack Obama's inauguration, when I was freezing my parts off on the press riser, was far larger than Trump's. Even despite that, Donald Trump went and told Sean Spicer, his then press secretary, to insist it was the largest crowd ever, which Spicer said this, quote, the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period, both in person and around the globe. I will note Sean Spicer later said he regretted making those comments. So look, I think Donald Trump looks at this. He realizes it's going to be cold. He thinks, ooh, with a frigid forecast like that, how many people are going to say, you know what, I have a ticket, but I'm not going to show up. He does not want a sparsely attended outside inauguration because he knows it'll be a big story. And he also cares so much about crowd size. So he goes inside again, Capitol Rotunda, incredibly smaller. Couple hundred people can fit in there. There will be no crowd size discussion. That's reason 2. Reason 3, a little bit more serious but important, safety. So look, it's easy to forget, but Donald Trump was the subject of not 1 but 2 assassination attempts during this campaign. The first one in July in Butler, Pennsylvania at a campaign rally. The second, September 15th at his golf course in Florida. He stopped playing golf after that incident on September 15th because the Secret Service says they could not guarantee his protection on a wide open course like that. He also, for a while, stopped doing outdoor campaign rallies for the same reason, because the Secret Service told them that they would prefer he not do that. So given the fact that this is a guy who survived 2 assassinations, was the target of and survived 2 assassination attempts in the space of, since July to September, My guess is the Secret Service probably may have counseled Trump to go inside and were probably just fine with him deciding to go inside for his inauguration. Will it make a difference? Not really. I mean, it'll look a little bit different. He might speak a little bit longer than he would normally. I'll remind people, he only spoke for 16 minutes in 2017 in his first inauguration. It was the shortest inauguration speech since Jimmy Carter in 1977. So he probably will go a little longer because it'll be warm in there and he won't want to get off stage. But I don't think it will have any real effect. I know people who hate Trump are going to say, oh, he can't take the cold. What a wuss, blah, 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 blah. Whatever. I do think the cold is a reason. And having been in that cold, I actually take him at his word. I would not want to be out in that for an extended period of time. But remember, so cold is one. Number 2 is crowd size, and I do think that matters. And number 3 is safety. So those are the 3 reasons I think Donald Trump is deciding to go indoors, but it will be history. First time in 40 years that's the case. I will obviously be there. I will be live streaming, watching the whole thing on C-SPAN. I hope you join us. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful weekend. And I do ask you to do 4 things. I ask you to subscribe to this channel. I ask you to like this video. Just give it a thumbs up. I ask you to comment on this video. Do it for the algorithm. And I ask you to tell 10 friends about what we're building. All right, everybody, take care.